Oh, fuck. Shit. Wait. Okay. There we go. What up, guys? Getting this show started in just a second, so get comfortable.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not just smart, they heal Mars. They're not just smart, they heal Mars. They're not just smart, they heal Mars. They're not just smart, they heal Mars.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans and friends, I am back once again. I am the custodian of charisma, the ophthalmologist of optimism. I am one half of the heel marks, Brady. Danielle is trapped in captivity this week, but I am showing up for the team and welcoming you to this week's edition of Mark of Honor, everyone's favorite Ring of Honor post show. I don't know about you guys, tonight had a different feel to it. I think we're going to talk about some of the differences that we noticed this week after Death from Dishonor, rather. Please, guys, get involved. Do not forget, follow everyone at the bodyslam.net pod network. Do not forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow button, and of course, find the comment section and get involved. I am by myself talking to you. Why don't you go ahead and talk back, right? Let me know exactly what you guys thought of the August 1st edition of Ring of Honor. First thing I noticed is that, and there was some news going on about this past week, about what Paul White, formerly known as The Big Show, was going to be doing. He was moving over to the ROH thing. I think he was even announced as kind of like an on-air authority figure, which I like. We didn't see that tonight. If it does happen, I have been saying for a while now, ROH does kind of need an authority figure, not necessarily be the bad guy or even the good guy, just somebody where if two people have a feud and they are like, we want to match, so it's not them just agreeing to matches backstage, like they can do whatever they want, but then on the other hand, have people complaining to the ROH gods that, hey, we want a title shot, and then nothing happens. You're like, I wonder who's listening. Now we can know. We know it's going to be Paul White. We know it's going to be The Big Show doing it. So I like that. And while we didn't see authority figure Big Show or Paul White this week, we did hear him because the show broke down exactly what happened at the pay-per-view from last Friday with Paul White being the narrator. I don't know if this is just because they had a pay-per-view and maybe that's why they wanted to start tonight off different, bring him in hot, or perhaps this is a new theory, a new theme. I'd love to see this become a regular occurrence. Like, I'd love to see exactly what happened this week be broken down next week by Paul White. And even not just that, how like on certain TV shows, right? When they have the recap, they're not just recapping what happened in the previous episode. Sometimes they'll recap something that happened in like the first season just because that's about to get referenced in this episode. If a character is going to return, maybe in that recap, they'll show you them getting introduced one season prior, 3 episodes ago, what have you. So I think that will go into play as well. For example, let's say next week we're going to see, let's just go with the Outlanders, right? I'm sorry, the Outrunners. The Outrunners, we haven't seen them in a minute. But let's say that whoever they're facing is somebody they've got history with. Maybe you show a recap of that. If Layla Hirsch is going to appear next week, you can go ahead and show her big win with Diamante one more time, because let's hype her up before we see her again. So I wouldn't mind if and sometimes ROH has stories that take off for like a week or two, and then they try to get back into it. So these recaps could benefit that as well. So I did enjoy the beginning of the show getting started off hot. I want to jump around a little bit only because the way the show started and ended was unique. It was different. It felt different. In fact, yes, exactly. I agree with that comment. Philosopher's Stone presents 100%. Tonight felt different. It had a different feel to it. It does kind of feel like we're beginning to head towards a new era for Ring of Honor. There's been rumors that this month, they're actually not rumors. The news is out there. This month, they're going to be doing a few tapings of Ring of Honor individually. They'll have shows where people 100% came to that arena to see Ring of Honor get taped for however many episodes. So it'll feel different. It'll look different. Everything will be different from what we're getting now, which is essentially pre-show matches. The audience is barely there. They're coming for AEW Dynamite or whatever show, but if they come early enough, boom, there's Ring of Honor. So I think that this month could be a very good month for the new era that is the new Ring of Honor. Let's see. Let's talk about. So one thing I want to talk about. So I did enjoy the Bloody Briscoe promo that we got following his big title defense at the pay-per-view. Okay, I get it. I loved it. Bloody face, baby in arms, just cutting a passion promo about he's still the champ. Roddy Strong, you came for it. You gave me all you had. I gave you all I had, and that's why I'm still holding this. I'm still the world champ. Awesome. I love it. I love that promo. And here's the thing. It's like, if ROH was just its own thing, then maybe this be different, but it's not. ROH is a part of AEW's universe, and it's kind of the baby part. So I can't ignore the fact that Mark Briscoe was in a match last night. It was a 6-man tag match. A match that, to be honest, I thought was super random and super weird. And I say that because it's him and, his new stable, his new group, facing Roddy Strong, who's in a stable, who's in a group, and that group happens to be the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. So really, if you've got your world champion in on one side, it's his stable, that just makes the most sense, right? Just do the Undisputed Kingdom. No, we're going to go ahead and have Roddy Strong team up with Roosh, and we're going to team him up with, of course, the Beast Mortos, who, of course, gets the pin on our Ring of Honor World Champ Mark Briscoe. And that's what I mean by what a weird tag match, because the pairing on heel side is weird. That weird heel pairing becomes the winning team, which is weird. And of all people on Team Babyface to get pinned, it is your Ring of Honor World Champion. That's got to mean something, right? I mean, Beast Mortos was on the show tonight. He had a nice win over AR Fox. I'm a big fan of AR Fox, so let's pause real quick, talk about AR Fox. I think Ring of Honor can be a really good home for him, but they have to get away from whatever it was that they, we all read the stories. They put AR Fox kind of in the timeout box. They were mad at him. They brought him into AEW, big push on the horizon with Swerve stable. Apparently, he was booked for a big match, I think at Wembley. But unfortunately, he, I guess, didn't disclose that he couldn't travel the country. They didn't know. Maybe he thought he could work it out last minute. Either way, Tony was pissed, and I guess has been pissed ever since. Because the truth is, he knew how good AR Fox was when he brought him in. That's why he was using him that way. That's why he did what he did with him. So anything to veer away from that is pettiness. And the fact that it's been going on like a year now, petty. So AR Fox needs to get on the winning side. AR Fox needs his Skulk. I've spoken about the Skulk many times, both on this show and, of course, on the Heel Marks. But the Skulk are a group of his students. You've seen some of them, most of them on TV, on some shows. The most well-known is probably Leo Ruff, because Leon Ruff, yeah, and he is former NXT North American champion. So, but it's him, it's Adonis. There's like 3 or 4 of them, probably more, because he keeps teaching more people. But I've seen them live with the Skulk. That stable is so lit, and like his entrance where he puts his hands in the air and gets the crowd going, hey, hey. With the Skulk by his side, he gets the crowd live. I'm telling you. And the Skulk has worked with AEW and Ring of Honor regularly, mostly as enhancement talent. But it's not like Tony Khan doesn't like working with them. So there's really no reason to just have them walk AR Fox to ringside. That's not all they do. They are live at ringside. They are great managers. They're a great asset. AR Fox gets a little more live as well. He'll knock someone down and then dance and have his whole squad getting live on the sidelines. Trust me. That's what AR Fox is missing right now. AR Fox is still the total package. But if they're not pushing him, then he kind of needs that extra factor to be memorable every week other than just what he's doing in the ring. And I think the Skulk is really going to add to him if and when they go there with him. Give me one sec, please. Now, back to the Beast Mortos. They have been pushing this guy big time ever since the name change on every show he's been on. He's like quietly one of the most protected people that they have, especially on the Ring of Honor side. So putting him in that six-man tag and giving him what should be a monumental pinfall victory on Dynamite versus over the ROH World Champion. Shane Taylor was the last person we saw call Mark Briscoe out. It kind of looked like Shane Taylor was knocking on his door after the pay-per-view. However, Shane Taylor, it seems he's injured. We don't know the extent of it yet, but whatever that injury is, I'm assuming that's why we didn't hear anything from him or about him this week on Ring of Honor. We also didn't hear anything about the fact that Beast Mortos pinned Mark Briscoe the night before. Mark Briscoe cut a promo after losing. It wasn't that serious, and it was kind of him and Kyle O'Reilly having a little silliness where Kyle O'Reilly was going to make him feel better, but Mark Briscoe vowed to get even with the team that beat him. Fine and dandy. It wasn't the serious promo I would have needed or would have demanded that they show tonight, where he talks about the fact that he is the ROH World Champion. He talks that he just went to war with Roddy Strong on Friday, and here he is letting his team down. Never again. Like, I almost feel like Mark Briscoe, the Mark Briscoe that was just talking earlier tonight when to open the show with Bloody Briscoe promo, that Briscoe would have challenged Beast Mortos to a ROH Championship match, put his title on the line immediately. He would have been talking about that tonight. And we don't get that, which is fine. We'll get to that, right? But here's the thing. Beast Mortos is in a match. He's on the winning side of that match. Commentary is not ringside, if anyone hasn't noticed. Commentary, they do their calls later. A lot of times, the commentary team wouldn't have done their calls for this match or any match until today, earlier this afternoon. So the fact that they don't mention the Beast Mortos' huge victory over the champion, I think it's ridiculous when you've got him on the show. He's getting a big win. He's getting a push. That definitely needed to get mentioned somehow, somewhere in this show. And then if it's not, I've got to now ask myself, does that mean that it means nothing? Because I thought it was a huge deal. I'm getting ready to see Beast Mortos get his title shot with Briscoe within the next couple weeks. And here I am thinking that all this is going to lead up to is probably another six-man tag team match on another AEW show. If I had to guess, I'd say Collision. And Briscoe will get his win back there. So no follow-up. Now, for the record, I'm not getting mad about this yet. I'm going to wait until next week and see if they do respond to that accordingly and see if they do bring this in. But this is kind of one of those things that why I say we need an authority figure. This is kind of something that Paul White would need to address. And I'm hoping it happens as early as next week. Unless, of course, you have Tony Khan or somebody announce it on an AEW program, which I said could easily happen. But if it's a ROH title match, which it should be on ROH. And if you've got Paul White involved now on the authority side, he should be the one announcing it. So I'm going to wait. I think that we should get more from that. And I'm hoping we do. But for me, this was a small swing and a miss in the fact that you had a big moment happen last night for the ROH brand, and you did no follow-up, no reference, no mention to it tonight. Big miss for me. A big win for me. And as we say on the Hill Marks, I marked for this as opposed to the last one I healed for. But instant replays, guys. Instant replays. I have been saying for the longest time that ROH needs instant replays, especially because of the style of wrestling that they promote, that they feature weekly on their show, right? A lot of it is instant replay worthy. You've got a lot of high flyers. You've got a lot of dominant spots or just violent spots. Brian Cage, we saw some of those tonight. A lot of things that you're going to want replays for. Now, granted, I don't think we got replays as much throughout the night as I would have liked and as we should have gotten. Really, they only stood out to me during this match where we got them multiple times. AR Fox versus the Beast Muertos. So once again, no complaints there. This was a fantastic selection of a match to really introduce instant replays to and go into that. Absolutely loved it. Another thing I want to mention before I move on, Caprice, great reference, great mention. And I love the fact that they're giving this referee some love. And all referees deserve love in certain things they bring to the table that we would never think about. And the fact that during this match, AR Fox versus the Beast Muertos, it was referenced that their referee is bilingual. And so he's a great asset to the company. Best referee choice they have during matches with their bilingual or just their foreign wrestlers. Their wrestlers that come in from Mexico, if they only speak Spanish, AR Fox maybe only speaks English. And then boom, you've got the referee who speaks both. I believe his name is Brandon Martinez, but he got a shout out from Caprice. He's getting a shout out from me. That's very cool that the commentary team thought to bring that up to us, the fan base, because it's rarely spoken about. You know what I mean? Anything these refs bring to the table is rarely spoken about. Speaking of bringing something to the table, looks like ROH is bringing beef to the table. In fact, Anthony Henry is bringing the beef because apparently beef is now Anthony Henry's second cousin. I just have to say, first off, I love everything about this. I love the fact that we got 2 promo segments from Anthony Henry tonight, both backstage, as well as an Anthony Henry match and an Anthony Henry family member getting introduced to us. See, this is the type of heavy storytelling movement that we need from ROH because you don't get much of it. And here it is, like now we're introduced to a brand new character who's already bringing a lot of personality. He's got a direction kind of insight already, ways they can go. I like that in the first promo he cut where we meet Beef, Anthony Henry did have on his Workhorseman t-shirt. They were asked about JD Drake's recovery. So while I do think we're still a ways away, unfortunately, my guess would probably be at least another month and a half. But they're mentioning it. So they're mentioning the Workhorseman. So that's not going anywhere. They still want to make sure we know who Anthony Henry's tag team partner is. It is JD Drake. However, they're now letting us know who his cousin is, and it is Beef. Anthony Henry doesn't seem that he's the biggest fan of Beef showing up to his place of business, even if he is supportive and cheering him on. I think that dynamic can be very entertaining. I've always been a fan of family members in wrestling. Everyone always talks about Undertaker and Kane, but like, I love the Holly family. None of those people were related, but Hardcore Holly, Crash Holly, and Molly Holly all went on to be very successful. Hold up. There it is. Bingo. All right, let's make sure I'm here. Nope. Right. You guys are the best for bearing with me. Here we go. All right. Should be ready and beautiful back where we were talking about. Now, wait, hold on. Boom. There we go. Now I'm back. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. So, back to what I'm talking about here. I love those family dynamics and the ways you can play off them with Hardcore, Crash, and Molly, for instance, since I brought them up. We got the fact that, oh, yeah, they're the happy family. These are the cousins. They always get along, so we get them together. Then, of course, there's Crash and Hardcore getting jealous of Molly Holly because she's getting in with Spike Dudley. And then you got that. So I love family dynamics. I love the different ways you can play off. Here, we've got Beef, who's the loud cousin. Does he have... he's very supportive of Anthony Henry, but is that genuine? Is that legitimate? We saw when Anthony Henry did have his match, in my notes, I was writing down Wheeler Yuta face Anthony Henry with Beef, but then I realized, no, Beef did not actually come down to the ring with him. He did, however, get himself a nice ringside seat to support his cousin Anthony Henry. Now, this was a great match, and they played it straight. So it's not like we got a situation where Beef caused Anthony Henry to lose when he should have won. That's not what we got. That's not what I want to see. So I'm hoping we don't get there. Then afterwards, Beef shows up in the backstage locker room trying to support Anthony Henry. He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to see it. Then we see Beef is talking to Anthony Henry, kind of uplift him up, but notices the camera and turns his uplifting speech into a promo. Anthony Henry didn't really seem to be too fond of that. Anthony Henry leaves. Beef's not chasing after him. He's kind of still, going at the camera saying beef is on the menu. You know you want beef. It's all about beef. So is that the case? Is it going to all be about beef? And then we see, is that the dynamic we're going to get? I personally would rather see Beef help Anthony Henry get a few wins here. Beef seems set on helping Anthony Henry. Anthony Henry could use some help while his tag team partners on the shelf. I don't necessarily want to see these guys in tag team action, though I know Beef is a very talented wrestler, so that's probably where we'll go. And ROH, let's face it, just because you're a tag team and you're getting wins doesn't necessarily mean you're knocking on the door of the tag team championships. So Anthony Henry teaming with Beef could very well be a nice placeholder until JD Drake gets back, the Workhorsemen reunite, and then it could be the Workhorsemen with Beef. Or maybe Beef joins the Workhorsemen. Either way, I'm a big fan of wherever this is going. I just want to see more from Anthony Henry and Beef. I did like that Wheeler Yuta got a big win here tonight. And I say a big win because they gave these guys time. They really let them go back and forth. Anthony Henry did not look like an enhancement talent here. Anthony Henry, in the past, we've seen him not get entrances. He got an entrance tonight. In fact, most people tonight got entrances. Another big difference between the ROH norm we've become accustomed to and the ROH we saw tonight. Off that top of my head, I think only like maybe 2 people didn't get entrances. And we'll see if I'm wrong or right as we get there. Another big reason I'm happy Wheeler Yuta got the win tonight and got a win in general tonight, especially a hard-fought one he had to work for, is because when we did see our new ROH Pure Champion cut a promo, his first promo as ROH Pure Champion on Ring of Honor television, he made sure to put Wheeler over. The first ever 3-time Pure Champion, he put over Wheeler Yuta like he beat a fucking ROH legend. And in many ways, maybe that's the point. Maybe there's an argument to be made that Wheeler Yuta's 3 Pure Championship reigns at the very least puts him in the history books. First to do it. So I loved that. I hate when somebody beats takes the title and then says, like, I knew I was going to win because that person was a scrub. And not even just with titles. Anytime you win anything, like, you should put them over as the best. And, oh, yeah, by the way, I just beat the best. So what does that make me? That should be the norm. And especially with championships. And that's what we got here from Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty. Loved everything about this promo. I feel like we don't get to hear him talk nearly enough. That's probably because he's often with Shane Taylor, and Shane Taylor is just a really good talker. Like, Shane Taylor can talk himself into any room there is. And we don't get too much from Lee because of that, I think. But here we go. Lee can talk and Lee can walk. That gives us a good champion to work with. And guess what, guys? This is the first time we've seen the ROH Pure Championship on Ring of Honor television since like forever. It's ironic because this is the first time we've seen Wheeler Yuta on Ring of Honor television in forever. And of course, he had to lose his title to come here, and Lee had to win it for us to still get the champion on the show. So weird how that works out. Love that Lee is our new champion, by the way. Love that they had him cut this promo on Ring of Honor television. I'm hoping that we do see a lot more of Lee and the Pure Division as a whole, because we rarely see Pure Division matches on the show. The Pure Division matches pretty much only exist with title contenders. And so if the champion doesn't show up, boom, there you go. Lee does kind of seem like he's going to give us old school TV championship vibes. And by that, I just mean I think he's going to want to defend it almost every week. And I don't know the extent of Shane Taylor's injuries. I don't know if that means we're going to be seeing Tiger Style solo, or if, in a week or two, Shane Taylor is able to come back and accompany him. I'd love to see STP at full strength. If Shane is down, please send Anthony Ogogo to the ring with him. Like if you're a stable, if you're a group, especially if you're on the heel side, and while I don't really know with these guys because I feel like they've been so easy to turn face, and the fans would respond much better as baby faces. But Shane Taylor often talks as a heel. They've pretty much been heels, but this promo kind of gave me face vibes from Lee Moriarty. So very, very excited to see more from our new ROH Pure Champion. Also excited to see more from the newest tag team to join the ROH roster, MXM Collection, who's always coming out on top. They talked about the fact that they made their debut at the pay-per-view. They talked about the fact that while they won their debut, they did not win against FTR, but they took them to the limit. They gave it all they had. At the end of the day, FTR and MXM Collection did touch tips out of respect. So there was that. I enjoy that only because I feel like if I'm ROH wrestler and I'm getting wins on AEW television and you're giving me promo time, I am going to mention those things. I am going to bring that up. I'm going to let you guys know that I'm doing stuff everywhere. And if I'm on AEW TV, I'm going to do the same thing about these things that I accomplish in Ring of Honor television. So that's just the norm. I think they should start adapting. And listen, fact of the matter is FTR is the most well-known tag team that it's going to get mentioned on a Ring of Honor show. That's just the fact of life. So MXM did get a big match with them and did get to go the distance. So it makes perfect sense to bring that up. They had to do it, and I'm glad they did it. And these guys are so funny. They clearly, ROH is giving them no limits. They can clearly do and say whatever they want. They can make however many innuendos as they want. They are having a fun time just jumping on that line, just tiptoeing on it. It's a lot of fun. These guys are very entertaining. I would make a point to get them on Ring of Honor television every week for a few reasons, and I hope they do this when they do the tapings this month. Their entrance is going to be a big highlight for live attendees actually going to Soul Ring of Honor shows. They're going to want you're going to want to bring Dalton Castle out for it, probably Johnny TV. Every entrance that's exciting and even slightly interactive, you're going to want to get those for the tapings and let the crowd go crazy for them. And MXM is right there on that list. I think it's okay if you want to do what they did with FTR on AEW television to let your AEW wide audience know that these guys are on here. They appeared on Ring of Honor pay-per-view and AEW television in the same week. So I think this is a good sign of what the company thinks of them. For Ring of Honor television, they should be coming on every week. I don't think they should lose to anyone. And on AEW TV, I think their losses should be minimum as well. If you're going to give them FTR, if you're going to give them Young Bucks, if you're going to give them the heavy hitters of your brand, even the Acclaimed, absolutely fine. You know, they don't need to be coming in undefeated and getting super protected in the entirety of the company. Ring of Honor, we should not be seeing them lose. These guys should get set up. They should be set up as a babyface team. And these guys, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing them take away the championships from the Undisputed Kingdom. Wouldn't mind to see that at all. Speaking of seeing somebody take down the champion, let's talk about it. Billie Starkz loses her title to Red Velvet, the new Ring of Honor TV champion. Danielle and I were talking off air, obviously, about how it feels kind of like Red Velvet had just gotten started. I'm sorry, Billie Starkz had just gotten started with her championship. Had just gotten a shot. Just got going with the championship reign, and it's already over. Red Velvet, however, has been putting in that work for, we're talking years now. We're talking like when AEW is just getting started. Red Velvet has been consistent. I think Red Velvet really does deserve this championship. And the first thing I thought when like Lexi lost, I'm kind of like, okay, well, this is going to give us a lot more stories to tell on the Minion side of things. I like it when Athena and Billy are buddy and both dominant and both kicking ass and taking names. Like, I like it when Athena can truly trust her right-hand woman in Billy Starks to take care of some chaos and cause some havoc with her. However, this is intriguing now because now Lexi Nair and her idea is what helped Athena win. So Lexi Nair is the backbone of MIT. Billy was kind of getting ignored by both Athena and Lexi. Athena was so proud of Lexi because of what Athena accomplished. Nobody's talking about what Billy didn't accomplish. Nobody's talking about how Billy's not a champion anymore. In fact, Billy even kind of tries to include herself in the hug, make it a three-way hug, make it a minion family circle. Athena kind of brushes her off. Her and Lexi leave. And then I thought this was awkward because I think Billy's awkward, but maybe that's just her. But then she just looks into the camera and says, "I'm for the team." So, like I said, I thought that was awkward, but maybe it's intended to be. This is an awkward situation, right? I'd probably be awkward if this shit was happening to me on TV, camera right there in my face. So, yeah, we're going to see what happens now. I think Athena is just killing it as champion. I don't want to go back to Billy versus Athena. But if you're starting to tease animosity, if you're starting to tease dissension, or at the very least, reason for dissension, well, then we have to wonder what happens here. Now, maybe Athena loses her championship, and while Lexi is over here coming across as the reason why Athena won, maybe Billy comes across as the reason why Athena loses, and maybe that's where we get the next chapter. But for now, Athena is still our forever champion. And what a forever champion she is. What a job. I really can't get enough of the minions. Lexi Nair, it seems she's taking... I'm curious what happens with her because she didn't really, other than this segment, we didn't see her. She didn't do any interviewing. They were using Melissa Santos a lot tonight. So I don't know if that's just Lexi on Ring of Honor will only be with the minions and she'll do the backstage interviewing in AEW as well. Or maybe Lexi Nair is going to be more, maybe we're going to see different things from her. Danielle and I cannot stop screaming her praises. She's the unspoken MVP of Ring of Honor TV. Has been for months now, if not the entirety. So yeah, really can't say enough good things about Lexi. And I wonder what happens now that she's the official backbone of MIT. If anyone was excited as I was to see Fuego del Sol make his return to Ring of Honor, you were just as excited to see him get a nice win, a singles win against Jacoby Watts, who had Nick Camarado in his corner. I love Jacoby Watts. I think I've said this in the past. Jacoby Watts would be better off as a babyface. I think that. And eventually, yeah, turn that heel. But I think he could actually get his gimmick over with the fans. Like the fans, like what, like, you know, like when CM Punk and the Straight Edge Society were shaving heads and Cody Rhodes was putting paper bags over people's heads. Like, you've got those interactive things. He could do something where put your hand on my book. Praise be to me and me is he, or whatever he wants them to say. And he could literally go around the ring and have fans putting their hands on his book and promising themselves to whatever, committing themselves to whatever beliefs he was trying to put on them. I think that type of more coercing to the fans would be better for this type of gimmick and for what he's doing. Because as a heel, this is kind of getting predictable now, where he's just a cool guy who can talk. He's got a decent gimmick, but that's all it is. It's not actually a story we're going to learn more about. It's not going to take us anywhere. It's not going to take him anywhere. At one point, we thought Jacoby Watts was helping Nick Camarado. Nick Camarado was getting start getting wins. Instead, Nick Camarado is now on the sidelines, and Jacoby Watts is the one getting the matches, but not even getting wins. He's getting losses. So what are we getting here? I love the gimmick. You got to take it somewhere, and hopefully they will. But Fuego del Sol is going somewhere, hopefully to the tippy top. He came back looking stacked and jacked, a much bigger Fuego than we are used to seeing or that we have been in the past. Very cool to see him back. I think Ring of Honor is the perfect home for him. We also saw Marco Stunt return on AEW television not too long ago. I think he'd be another perfect person to bring into the Ring of Honor fold. He can kind of do it all. He can be an enhancement talent. He can get some cool wins and give you the baby face that you need. He can also be a great hype man, which is an underrated, an underutilized role in wrestling. Like, not everyone has to be a quote unquote manager. Everyone needs a hype man. And going back to Anthony Henry, I think Beef could be a great hype man for Anthony Henry. Speaking of hype man, Top Flight. I don't know if hype man's the best term. I think best term is that Top Flight has their flight attendant, Dante and Darius Martin, usually flanked with Action Andretti. He not show up tonight, but they did have Layla Gray in flight attendant attire, accompanying them to the ring. They do the classic entrance where they prop her up there on the apron and then join. They got the win over the Ace of Space Academy this week. So the biggest takeaway for me is what I just spoke about, right? The fact that Layla Gray is the flight attendant. That Layla Gray is now with Top Flight. Love that. Love the pairing. Love the idea that she would dress with, like a flight attendant. I don't know for fact if I heard them call her flight attendant or if that's just kind of, what I'm naturally saying, because that's going to be the role. But I do love the pairing. I love the idea. Layla Gray is very talented. I've been a fan of hers for a while. So I like the effort here, the creativity they're going, not just getting her a match, getting her on the show. No, let's get her into an angle. Let's get her into a group. Let's get her acclimated here very quickly. Love it. Problem is, this is kind of her coming out party, and all she did was come out. She wasn't really, and listen, I get it. The babyface manager role is very tough to play because it's not like the heel manager where you can kind of just cheat whenever you see fit. You can do whatever you want. You can scream at the wrestler. You can scream at the ref, scream at the fans, scream at commentary. It doesn't matter. No rules. Everything you do is going to be good because you're an agent of chaos. A babyface manager can't be doing that stuff. So I get it. A babyface manager, however, is supposed to get the fans involved because the babyface logic is that the fans can will me to a victory. So that's what I need more of from Layla Gray. I don't know if she needs to, put her hands on the apron, clap them in the air. If maybe they need to play with the flight attendant gimmick a little more and she can kind of I don't know, point. I don't know. I don't really have much to go with the flight attendant gimmick in terms of announcements to get the crowd up. I thought I had something, and then before I said it, I was like, nah, I don't have anything here. But once again, I do think they and she can be a little bit more creative and get her to be more involved because the truth is, if all adding Layla Gray to Top Flight does is A, give you a fancier entrance, and B, set you up now for feuds with other tag teams who have a lady by their side. If that's it, then this isn't going to do what it should for all involved. Because let's face it, Top Flight have a big future ahead of them, whether it's as a tag team, whether it's as a trio, whether it's as singles. They've been dabbing and dibbing in all of them and doing it very well. Layla Gray has been fighting for a spot, so this could benefit all of them if it's done the right way. We did get a hint of where they might be going. We did see the infantry kind of call them out and talk about the fact that, they have a girl now too. They have a flight attendant, so maybe we have to knock on their door. So we might be seeing that. The infantry with Trisha Dora versus Top Flight with Layla Gray. That might happen. I don't think it should happen too soon. And if the way the show closed was any indication, we might not be getting there. Let's see. What else do I got to talk about? Let's talk about Robin Renegade and Maya World. Love the fact that Robin Renegade is out here picking up victories, getting entrances. She came a long way. Here's the thing, though. In this particular situation, Maya World needed an entrance. Because I don't think people understand, especially now with Billy Starks losing her title. And especially now with the just like the dynamic of MIT changing, right? Like now all of a sudden it's just a little bit different. So with all of that, I think it's a perfect time for Maya World somebody who they always mention whenever she has a match. This is Athena's student, right? So this is like a minion in training type of shit. So Maya World being on the roster, I'm not saying she should have beat Robin Renegade. Obviously, this was Robin Renegade's night to get herself a big win and let people know, hey, I'm here and I'm coming for somebody's crown. Love it. But Maya World should have at least had the chance to be seen as a threat, okay? Because she is a minion in training. She is taught by Athena. So, like, that's a big thing on her resume. Commentary mentions it every week for a reason, and she's getting more reps now. So if you give her an entrance, I don't care. In fact, it would probably be better if you used Athena's theme song and video. Just give her the minion entrance, and I think, like, it's just that difference, and that little difference of it truly feeling like a threat. Because I'll be honest, if you give them both an entrance, I would have predicted Maya World to win this. And that would have been where they go, where not just is Athena propping up Lexi and kind of starting to ignore Billy, but now Maya World is showing promise. Maya World is getting wins. Maya World is getting reps. Maya World is getting opportunities on her own. What's going to happen if I decide to be by her side? You know, so like that's kind of what I was hoping and still am hoping. It doesn't have to happen overnight. It didn't have to happen this week. It's fine. But this wasn't, they didn't really give these girls so much time. So as much as I'm getting a bit hyped up that we're seeing more Maya World, and I'm getting hyped up at the potential that I think there is storytelling wise, what they can do with her, I don't know if that's intended. This was Robin's night. This was a decisive victory, and good for Robin Renegade. She's come a long way. Happy to see her getting these spots. Happy to see her getting them for sure. Premier athletes getting a premier victory against the superstars, Tommy Mars and Nikki 8. Listen, this was a good match, and I'm glad these guys are getting their wins. But does anyone else remember, like, Mark Briscoe and company chasing these guys away like the premier athletes were the fucking cancer someone released onto Ring of Honor? We had the bounty hunter, Keith, who's since turned heel, but Mark Briscoe, and like they were all united chasing the premier athletes away. And now the premier athletes, they were every week, these guys were declaring that they were coming for gold. We were left wondering whose gold was safe. Was Josh Woods going to go after the TV championship? Were these guys going to go after the tag championship? Were they all going to go after the trios championship? And now it's sad because they feel like another tag team, you know? They feel like another group. And it's sad because it was about like 3 to 4 weeks of solid promotion, solid vignettes, solid promo time, solid wins, solid altercations with baby faces. They were on a roll, and then they just hit the skids, and I don't really get it. Because the truth is, everyone in the Premier Athletes is a premier athlete, is top-tier talent to their manager, Smart Mark Sterling, one of the best managers in the biz right now. So I hope that they get these guys back on track. ROH is kind of struggling with that, which is surprising considering they have so many titles to play with. But it does seem like they're struggling a little bit here. Now, I want to talk about technically the main event, the last match. Now, and I say that because my biggest complaint, and it's like I always refer to Ring of Honor television as indie-rific. It's not always a bad thing, but it's definitely not always a good thing. It's just kind of the way, like, I've been to so many indie shows. I love indie shows. When I watch Ring of Honor television, I'm watching an indie show. From the crowd size to the way the card is, to the way the matches are, and everything like that. Even the way a lot of people are paired up. It's just very indie in the way that you get some stories, but it's not necessary for every match. That's so indie-rific. So the truth is, and you guys are used to this at this point, I always seem to have a little bit of a complaint when it comes to what the main event is, because I never think the fucking choice makes any sense. Okay? So, yeah, at an indie show, Brian Cage and Rocky Romero are your main event. Yes, 100%, 10 out of 10 times. Because they could do what they did tonight, which is you give them as many times. I felt like they got about 20 minutes. Kicked ass, back and forth match. The fans genuinely did not know who was going to win. They didn't even know who to root for, because I think At times, both men won them over. Brian Cage, I think, came in as the heel. Brian Cage is super impressive. It's kind of hard not to be cheering for him by the time that match ends. So, and I think that's what we saw here. And this was a great match and a great main event. And if I go to an indie show and this is the main event, abso-fucking-lutely, I'm like, that show kicked ass, that main event kicked ass. Why do I have a problem with it being the main event? Or why did I at the very least? Well, because you had a championship match on the show. And in fact, you had that championship match open the show. So tell me how that makes fucking sense. Explain to me why Brian Cage and Rocky Romero is more important than your brand new 6-man tag team championships having their first ever 6-man tag team championship defense against an established trios team that you see on ROH every single week, right? Like, that should be the main event. Now, obviously, and we'll get to it in just a second, but obviously there was a reason for it. And so that's why I rescind my complaint. That was the biggest thing eating me up during this main event, though. So I probably didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. Because all I'm thinking is, wow, this would have been a banger opener. And that title match we saw in the beginning of the show would have been a perfect main event. Just given this switch. But once again, I rescind that complaint because of what did happen after this match. But first, with this match, I just want to talk about it. I think both these guys are extremely valuable. Like, and I've been saying it for a while, Brian Cage, they can do so much with him because he can do so much with his body. Like, it's not just power. It's agility, it's speed, and it's always a surprise. And yeah, the end of that match got a little bit tricky, a little bit sloppy, a little botch-tastic, just a little bit. But he recovered. They both recovered. And I don't know if that was intended to be the finish spot, but thankfully, even if it was, they had the good sense to pull another spot and then finish it big. So this was a great match and a great main event. But if I got to nitpick, and let's be honest, that's what I'm doing here, right? Make this match an eliminator, or no, not eliminator match, because that requires the champion to be in there. Make it a number one contender match. Why the fuck not? Like, that's why they're in the main event spot, right? Because Brian Cage is the machine, right? And Rocky Romero is a veteran, a legend. Everyone knows what he's capable of. And commentary had a great time talking about all of his accolades and the groups he's been a part of. So make that match mean something. Make it number one contender. Let Brian Cage, who won tonight, let him face Mark Briscoe next week. If you're not capitalizing on the guy who just pinned him this past Wednesday. You know what I mean? Hell, doesn't even have to be for Briscoe. Make it for the TV championship. Because you do have a brand new TV champion who also wasn't on TV this week. So why not make this? This would have been the perfect number of contenders match for your ROH TV championship. So that's my only complaint. Because the truth is, next week, Brian Cage may not be on the show. Rocky Romero may not be on the show. And if either of them are, good chance they're not in the main event. Good chance their match doesn't really mean anything, which also kind of makes this main event not mean anything. Right? I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong. So I really hope Brian Cage gets a follow-up to this. I'd love to see him call out a champion. I'd love to see him get some promo time. I need more, because like when you don't do anything with big name guys who can kill it in the ring for you, and then you put them in the main event and then you continue to do nothing with them, it just makes the main events mean less moving forward. However, back to what I was saying earlier, and back to how tonight felt different. We ended with a promo, with an in-ring segment, and Danielle and I talk all the time about how we want more of these. One more in-ring promos, in-ring back and forths. So first, let's rewind to the opener, which, once again, this had me a little salty because I'm like, why are we opening with your tag team match? I'm sorry, your championship match. This is the only championship match you've got tonight. Why is this opening the show? But let's get into the match. This was a good one. I loved seeing Jack Jameson and the Iron Savages get this opportunity. They were the perfect challengers. I've been saying for a while now that as heels, the Iron Savages haven't been clicking because they turn bad to do what? Like, normally you turn bad because you want to pursue championship gold in the dirty way. You know, I've been playing by the rules and it got me nowhere. You fans have brought me down, blah, blah, blah. This is like they turned bad so they could call the fans virgins and never try to actually get anywhere with their new bad attitude. So this championship opportunity, at the very least, is something good. It's a change. In fact, next week, I hope they say, I don't care that you guys beat us, and they fucking attack them. I hope we see a real mean streak from the Iron Savages. But I do like Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs as our new trios tag team champions. I think this is going to be a fun mixture of, old school, new school throwbacks. The Von Erich name kind of just makes you think of veterans, but the fact that these are relatively new kids, second generation, third generation, but obviously they're under the Jericho, forgive me, the learning tree of Dustin Rhodes. Actually, no, Dustin Rhodes. Why did I put that in there? But yeah, they're under the learning tree of Dustin Rhodes right now. So this is a fun dynamic for the team. And I did like this match. Now, as to why it's okay that they didn't finish the show with this, well, Dustin Rhodes. I don't know why I wrote Rhodes, guys. I'm sorry. But Dustin Rhodes comes out. In fact, I think they were calling him Dustin Rhodes tonight, now that I think about it. I think they might have done a name change. I think it might be Dustin Rhodes now. I don't think I'm as crazy as I might actually think I am. But either way, Dustin Rhodes comes out and cuts a long promo. Not going to lie, I didn't know where it was going. At one point, I thought, is he retiring? You're still wearing championship gold. By the way, he explained the Von Erichs left. He sent them home to the hotel, whatever. He wanted to come out and explain how much this business meant to him, how much this run meant to him. He was taking this one last ride, and he's been on this one last ride for 5 years already. This is the first championship he has held in a very, very long time. Off the top of my head, if we're not including anything he did with the 24/7 championship, my guess would be him and Cody Rhodes holding the tag team gold in WWE would probably be the last time. Maybe him and Truth held the tag team gold, but I really don't think so. So yeah, like this is first championship gold in a long time, and it happening in Ring of Honor is a good place for him. But basically, the punchline of the promo is that he wants more. He's nowhere near done. I thought maybe he was going to call out Briscoe. Maybe he was going to talk about he's coming for a world championship. I didn't really know where it was going, what he wants more means per se. But Evil Uno is having no part of it because Evil Uno wants more. And Evil Uno thinks that him and the Dark Order are a way bigger part of Ring of Honor than Dustin Rhodes is, has been, or ever will be. All valid points. I do like Evil Uno when he's actually evil. I do need more evil from the Dark Order, though, because obviously this results in the Dark Order blindsiding Dustin Rhodes, attacking him from behind. I don't know, man. For me, I love John Silver, but he did not seem to really give a shit when he was kicking him when he was down. When he was kicking Dustin, it just did not seem like he was kind of a little stomp here, a little stomp there, then a pose. It's like if you guys are gonna be bad guys, you gotta be bad guys. Like you got to be bad motherfuckers. That's what I need. That's what I'm looking for. So I'd love to see, and we're gonna see where this goes. The biggest surprise of the night, though, I'm kind of wondering, I'm seeing, the Dark Order is attacking Dustin Rhodes. Does this is this his? Dustin Rhodes going to take this 1-on-3, and obviously next week the Von Erichs will be back to defend the honor of their mentor, their tag team championship compadre, and then maybe that's the trios feud. But surprise, surprise, we get the grand return of Sammy Guevara here at Ring of Honor television. Did not expect to see him. Did not expect him to return to Ring of Honor. He is defending Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes, long hesitation, doesn't know if he can trust Sammy. Commentary is putting over the fact that fatherhood has changed Sammy, and Dustin gives him the pound, gives him the hug, gives him the respect. I don't Sammy gives me more questions than anything. Is Sammy with Ring of Honor more than he is AEW now? Is AEW kind of done pushing him on AEW Dynamite for now? They're going to you know what? We're going to have to give you the reset over at Ring of Honor. We'll let you know when we're ready. Granted, Dustin Rhodes, he is a champion now, but this was his first time at Ring of Honor. in like forever, if not ever. So I could easily see this story moving over to AEW, you know, like a Dynamite, a Collision, a Rampage, something like that. I hope that it's significant enough to Ring of Honor, because once again, this was the main event. This was the closing segment. And the fact that the tag team champions did defend to start the show, and then one of them, Dustin Rhodes, closed the show with Dark Order. They give them some heat now. Sammy Guevara gets a nice babyface rub. So I'm very curious as to where this is going. There's a lot of places they can go with it. Dark Order doesn't really have that much heat. So I think the way to go for them is Trios Championship run. And I guess maybe Dustin Rhodes and just his veteranship and legendary status was enough where they were like, let's just use him to get Sammy over as a babyface. And now they can kind of do whatever they want with Sammy as a babyface. They can have him team with Dustin here and there, have him team with the Von Erichs. They can have him turn heel in a month or two, or he can kind of just branch off and do his own thing. His style fits very well in Ring of Honor. It definitely does seem like a demotion. I'd be lying if I didn't say that. But once again, August feels different for Ring of Honor, like a new start. One last thing got to talk about, because this is technically like what happened right before that finishing segment. The Undisputed Kingdom, they are approaching their championship anniversary. Now, earlier in the show, we heard from the Infantry with Trish Adora, and they were talking about how they will not be ignored. Now, one thing was weird. They were basically talking about how, why do teams like Top Flight get opportunities that we haven't gotten? I don't know if they just meant the fact that Top Flight had a match tonight, like if that's the opportunity, but the fact is Top Flight has not had a tag team championship opportunity in Ring of Honor. I don't even think them in Action have had a trios championship opportunity in Ring of Honor. However, as gets spoken about in this segment, but the Infantry talked about the fact that back in April, they got tag team championship opportunity against the Undisputed Kingdom. So their promo against Top Flight doesn't make sense, because they have technically had more opportunities than Top Flight has had. Also, it kind of feels like anytime they go up to Undisputed Kingdom and say we want a title shot, they get a title shot, or at the very least, an eliminator match. But here it is. We have it again, and it seems like the Undisputed Kingdom do not care. You want a title shot? Sure. Infantry are coming for the gold, and the Undisputed Kingdom are coming for their championship anniversary. So I don't know if maybe Infantry are getting thrown back into the tag team title race again, so Undisputed Kingdom can get another win against them again, so they can make it to 100 days. I don't know if maybe this is it. The Infantry do finally get those tag team titles. It kind of goes back to like Lee Johnson and the TV championship. I didn't really understand why they kept making him the guy to lose to Kyle Fletcher over and over in different match, when it's like, just pick somebody else. Like, why is the same guy getting the title shot? There are other people. So why is the same team getting the title shot if the Undisputed Kingdom is just going to win? That seems like it would only hurt the Infantry. And the Infantry do kind of seem like they were just have been on the cusp of tag team gold for a while now. So this might be it. I do like the Trish Adora getting more involved in their promos, their vibe, but not enough for me. I need more from Trish Adora, especially because Carly Bravo, he'd be stealing the shine. He is a shine hog. He doesn't even try to be. It's attracted to him. And guys, I am attracted to you, each and every one of you. You're all the best. Know that. Don't let anyone tell you different. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for about an hour to talk about this super stacked new era of Ring of Honor. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. Hopefully it picks up steam next week. Next week, I hope I am joined once again by my lovely co-host, Danielle, who, as I said, was trapped in captivity. Our thoughts are always with everyone who's trapped in captivity, especially Danielle. It's dangerous out there. Guys, thanks again, as always. Follow us at The Heel Marks. Follow everyone at the bodyslam.net network. Guys, do not forget, we're not just smart marks. We're here.